Hellgate London offers the same kind of material and character creation that any other MMO offers. You have your classes, your Guardian, Blade Master, Evoker, Summoner, Engineer, Marksman. The one thing is, after you beat the game, you can go back and choose different difficulties, like Nightmare difficulty or Normal difficulty, by just clicking on Nightmare, activating it or deactivating it. When you're going in to create a new character, it's just like any other MMO if you've ever played one before. You type in the name. In here, the only difference is you can select from Elite Mode and Hardcore difficulty. You can select it where you're playing in these different settings. Hardcore pretty much where if you die, you're done, your character's done. Elite Mode is where the mobs are, there's more rare, legendary, epic mobs, so there's a bigger chance of you getting better drops, therefore better chance of getting better gear, which is what this game's really all about, is the gear. As you can see, there's a lot of customization options, way more than WoW or some of the other Guild Wars and such have. You can choose several different skin colors, several different hair colors, facial hair, and one thing to keep in mind, your body's going to be covered in armor pretty much 90% of the game, so there's really no point in spending too much time debating about what you want your character to look like, because when it's all said and done, they're going to have a helmet on their head and you're really not going to see much of them. You can change their height, bulk, make them bigger, shorter, whichever. Here I have Elite Mode activated. Randomized buttons just like any other game. Going to enable Elite Mode and enable Hardcore. Here it tells me that tester's already been taken, so load time for Hellgate London all depends on your memory. It can be pretty quick or it can be pretty slow, depending on your system. If anybody has ever played Diablo 1 or 2, the controls are pretty much the same thing. It's a hack and slash RPG.
Well, aren't we just full of questions?
One big complaint some people have is that the level design is poor and repetitive. The stations in themselves I find to be actually pretty unique in their own. You can pretty much tell where you're at once you play the game by just looking around, you know, while I'm in Monument or I'm in Charing Cross. However, the levels do get repetitive in the sewers and tunnels, where even with 3D engineering, 3D generation, the maps tend to look the same, just because they're all dark, they're all gloomy, and you really can't bring much new, fresh attitude to an environment that is constantly dark and gloomy. It just doesn't work well. Pretty much the only thing that the 3D generation does is make barrels spawn in different places and cars in different places. But as you can see, there are different types of areas. Here's Stonehenge. That's a subscriber only. This is the Nano Force. This is where you can upgrade weapons. So if you have a particular weapon that you want to keep for whatever reason because of the attributes it has, you can keep upgrading it with parts that you get from other weapons by dismantling other weapons. This is Augmentrix. You can add different properties. They're all random, so you better be careful. Here is the Demodificator tongue twister. You can remove mods from it and actually take the different relics or texts from one weapon and put them in another one if you're getting rid of that weapon. There's a lot of options with the weapons. You can dismantle them, you can analyze them, you can trade them to friends, you can store them, It's really all up to you. And that's really where the fun of this game comes from, is playing with all your loot.
Yes.
And that's where different people have different strategies. You can sell every piece of equipment you have, or you can break it down and use parts to upgrade. Inventory space has been a big complaint. Subscribers get double the space, but normally you'd only have a pretty... I mean, it's nice to have, but it's still not huge. And two, once you start getting higher levels and start doing runs, you're going to soon fill up that space, especially when you find stuff that you can use 3 levels later. You're going to want to hang on to it. As you can see, there's tons of loot in the game, so I definitely recommend being a subscriber, just because you get more inventory space and you get this cube which collapses and allows you to store stuff in it, just to give you that extra little bit of space.